A story of an hour. Question answer. What was Mrs. Mallard's first reaction to the news of her husband's alleged death? She wept at once, with sudden wild abandonment in her sister Josephine's arms. She rushed to her room and she stood facing the open window and sank into the armchair near the window. The weather was a bit cloudy and the spring season had set it. She looked outside the window with empty eyes. She threw back her head upon the cushion of the chair, calm and repressed. She expected that something was coming to her and she was waiting for it. What was her later reaction? She felt a sense of freedom from bondage, as she did not lead a happy married life. She thought of the days ahead when she would live for herself. What words did she use to express her later feelings? She said over and over under her breath with slightly parted lips. Free, free. She was staring and had a terrified facial expression. Meanwhile her pulse was beating fast. What is the surprise ending of the story? Although she was very badly shocked to hear the news of death of her husband's death and was feeling that her unbearable grief would end her life, but she survived. She thought about the agony of lonely, dreadful of many years as a widow. Then all of a sudden Bruntley Mallard arrived from his outside tour. He was not on a train which faced accident. On his appearance Louise was so much overjoyed that she died by an extreme shock of joy. So she was killed by the great joy and not by the shock of alleged of her husband's death. What is the central idea of this story? Sometimes extreme grief does not cause death but extreme joy can kill a person. Death is certain irrespective of the fact whether it occurs by the shock of grief or by the thunderbolt of an extreme joy. What is your idea about the married life of Mr. and Mrs. Mallard after reading this story? Mr. Mallard and his wife were not passing the happy life. Mr. Mallard not love his wife and she felt her alone and normally she had deep attraction to her husband.